Hello, welcome to tonight's live stream. We have an excellent topic here. We're talking about being prepared in small spaces. So you can see there's a wonderful panel of individuals who are here to talk about this topic. And so if you're catching the replay too, thank you for stopping by and checking out our show. So I hear a bit of feedback. So if anyone's got their volume on YouTube, just, yeah. Sounds So what I was going to do, I'm Van City Prepper. We have a channel. There's two of us that do it. I'm going to go actually around and each person can talk about a bit about their channel and why they're interested in preparedness in small spaces. Apartment Prepper, could you introduce yourself?
Hi there, I'm Apartment Prepper, and I live in a one-bedroom, one-bath, small apartment with my younger brother and my dog. And that's why I'm interested in prepping in smaller spaces, because trying to make it all fit is a challenge. So.
And you have a new channel.
Yes, it's a month old yesterday.
Awesome. So. How about you, CFP?
I am CFP, also survival living. I live in a 6x12 cargo trailer that I pull around anywhere I want to. So space is very limited. So little tricks and trades, very important and very appreciative for sure.
Oh, that's awesome. And how about you, Turning Leaf Homestead, who we have convinced to start a YouTube channel, who's an Instagrammer?
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hey, guys.
Yeah. Hi.
We're just great to see you, Angry Prepper. We're just quickly going around and telling each other why we are so interested in small space preparedness.
Okay.
So I live in a townhouse, and our goal is to have a farm life. But until then, preparing our skills for me is our biggest focus right now. And being as ready as we can in this space. I'm on Instagram primarily, but we're working on a channel on YouTube. So,
how about you, Digital Prepper? The floating memory stick. You look good tonight, by the way.
Thank you. So yeah, I'm the Digital Prepper. I used to live in a 2-bedroom apartment. And now I own a house, and I mean, there's still like no space to have all these preps. My channel is basically about how to integrate technology within our preparedness lifestyles. And yeah, that's about it.
And no introduction required at the bottom, but would you like to tell us why you're interested in this topic, Angry Prepper?
Because I live in an apartment, and when you live in an apartment, you have limited room. I'm pretty sure Apartment Prepper knows how that is. Mm-hmm. And you have to be creative. So, and I'm also curious as to what other people are doing with their small spaces.
Yeah. So does anyone have any tips that they could share to get this started about something that you're doing that is really a game changer? I mean, the other night, this originally started with wanting to talk to Apartment Prepper about it. And then I put up a community post, and there was so much interest that we actually this grew. And so I'm just wondering, like, Apartment Prepper, do you want to start by telling us a couple of things you do?
Well, it's funny. I moved into this apartment in January. It's been a while since I've been in an apartment. And I went online and started looking for suggestions or ideas for prepping in an apartment. And it was really hard to find anything. There's so much great prepping information out there, but specifically for an apartment, I was having a struggle for that. And I had to go look up just storage ideas from decorating sites and stuff like that. But one thing, I'm not doing a lot of it yet, but I want to, and it's they call it Think Upward, which means think about all the space above you. It's there's so much space up above our heads that's unused. So whether you can put shelves on the walls, if your landlords will let you do that, or put things up like a loft bed, lift your bed up higher so you have storage, more storage underneath. And that stuff like that is something I really want to get into incorporating, because again, so much wasted space above our heads. So I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
No, I actually do agree. That kind of like verticality to, like use the like mostly empty space that's on a lot of people's walls by like doing things like installing shelves and like things of that nature that will add a lot of space to like put preps on.
Absolutely.
And Jason, where do you hide all the water? What do you do with all your water?
Interestingly enough, it's out in the open, so it's I'm not hiding it. It's actually turning into a shelf or table. I don't know what's going on with it, but there's we keep it. I mean, what's it 5, 15, 20? Maybe we have 25 gallons, 35 gallons of water in the apartment. We also have water that we wash our hands with, and we don't have to go to the bathroom. That's in the closet as well. That water's in plastic bottles. That's water, that you definitely don't want to drink because it's been sitting in those plastic bottles for a few years. I do suck them out every now and again, but though I'm using it mainly like to flush the toilets. If we're still here, it can stay in those bottles for a long duration. Whereas the other stuff we drink, I do switch them out, but there's one that I have that's been sitting here for it'll be 10 years in September. So what I'm going to do with that water is I'm going to test it out. So the rest I switch out. That I leave alone. And I'm going to test out to see if I'm going to get sick or not.
Real quick, am I the only one who's having a problem hearing Angry Prepper? To me, it sounds like your sound's cutting in and out. Is that just me, or is it everybody?
Yeah, it's a little.
No, a little. Yeah.
What do I sound digital like someone said?
It's hard to understand some of what you're saying. It's very
digitized.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's a digitized hologram.
Yeah, it's okay. I just heard. Give me 2 seconds to.
I just don't want people to miss what you're saying.
Maybe he got that thing that Canadian Prepper has.
That shield.
Shield.
I watched
How do I
that
sound
video.
now? Do I sound better or no?
The same. Yeah.
The same?
A little better.
Hold on.
To me.
Let's try something else.
No, maybe not there.
Is the solution, CFP, is the solution to just take all your preps and bury them other places to make more space for yourself in your home?
Well, that depends on the scenario, to be honest. Okay, and it also depends on your living situation. And my situation is not everybody's. Okay, so let's say that you're in the city. Okay, I'm not. I'm in a rural area, so I got plenty of room to move without being seen because the population is low. But let's say you live in a city, in an apartment complex. Where are you going to go bury food at what no one's seeing? In a situation like that, I would store some things in facilities offsite. You can get, we have storage facilities that are climate control, but of course, a major event, EMP, coronal mass ejection, there's no climate control anyway. Means I got to go get that stuff before it goes bad. But like right now, I'm able to store. I also store in the ground. We put survival buckets loaded down with food in all kind of different locations. But I have that availability living in a rural area. All right. So if you're in the city, I mean, it's not like you can go walk out to the sidewalk, if the little grass strip between, you start digging, because you're going to run into some pipes and probably get a ticket and tackled by the police because you're out there digging up the only lawn around. So my scenario is not exactly for everybody. It really depends on the scenario you're living in, the situation. And let's face it, let's say that something major event happens where you can't go outside. All right. Like right now, all I have available is what's in that trailer or within my recent vicinity. Okay. My aunt's home's right here. That's where I'm at right now filming. My brother's RV's right next door. I mean, we're real close together, but let's say you can't leave to go get those supplies. What if there's no way of actually evacuating out of your apartment to go get stuff? Let's say there's a huge watch that word. There's something that you are not allowed to be after a certain curfew or something like that, and you step outside, they're grabbing you. Then how are you going to go get your stuff? So having a large supply in your home is definitely very important. Like Angry Prep was talking about, he's basically making furniture out of it, pretty much. You know, I'm thinking what he's saying is that he's building it up and putting a tabletop right on top of it or something like that. The verticals is great. We've added so many new shelves. We got a small living quarters. I mean, a 6x12 trailer, the first 3 foot is the bathroom. Okay. And that first 3 foot of the trailer is the bathroom. It's 6 foot by 3 foot. That's the shower, the toilet, a sink to wash dishes, and the rest of it is living quarters. But even that's cut down because the back end is my solar system, all my battery banks, food storage, all my inverters, all that stuff is in the back end of it. So that's about 2 foot right there. So we got a fold down Murphy bed, but everything is having to go vertical. We're having to build shelves where we can and stock, no matter what, we've got supplies right on hand. But outside, we got plenty of room to do other things. But yeah, you talk about tight squeeze. Yeah, a lot of it comes to routine. I mean, the wife and I have a routine. We have a certain hours we get up and operate. And when we're done, I mean, we spend most of our day outdoors because indoors is close quarters. I mean, it's basically living in a large closet is basically what it is. I mean, we got a TV and everything, but even that's mounted high where we can fold it down so we can watch TV. Our chairs, they go outside when we go lay down the bed. And when we get the bed up in the mornings, chairs come inside from outside. That's how we're actually having to live. And we've been living that way for 2 years now. But we can always back up the Tahoe right to it and leave at any point in time whenever we need to.
That's cool.
So having that availability, we like, but we got a lot of food. 2-year supply of normal canned goods and dry goods is a lot. It's a lot of weight and takes up a lot of room. I mean, I just recently did one of those 30-day food videos, and a lot of people got upset with me. Oh, that's more than 30 days. I eat a lot of food. I work out every day. I eat a lot of food. And a year supply for one person. I mean, you're talking 720 to 800 pounds of just dry goods.
Yep.
I add some canned goods in there. That is a lot. I mean, have you ever seen the 20-pound bag of rice? Now go make 400 pounds of that. It's a lot. So you do need to work on different type of methods, and everybody's method is different, in my opinion. I've always said I cannot tell you what to do. I just show you what we do.
Exactly.
Every situation is different. Sorry, I got on a rant. My bad.
No, that's good.
No, you're not wrong. I also think, just kind of piggybacking off of that, just kind of the way that people do store, whatever kind of material. Like, for example, you were talking about canned goods. And, like, funny enough, I actually have a freeze dryer, which, kind of, it simply takes all of the water out of, whatever food items that you put in the freeze dryer. But, which will, on one hand, make the end product, light and easy to, kind of store in comparison to cans, but you still have to store all of that water somewhere.
Well, the water is one that really interests me because I do watch this person, Angry Prepper. I watch all of your videos, and I know you're always talking about water is so important. And I love that you're talking about having it right there. And, having it is more important than necessarily like having it hidden somewhere. And, any more about the water topic that you want to add?
How do I sound? Better or shitty? Can you hear me? Okay, all right, good. And listen, the water for us folks in the city is a problem. I guess I'm gonna go on a limb and say a lot of you guys have wells. I mean, maybe not apartment prepper, but I think the rest of you guys have wells or something where you can access a stream or maybe even, I don't know, a creek or something. For those of us that live here, this is our game plan. Store water in the apartment, and if this thing is, let's say, a sudden event, and what I wind up doing actually was a sudden event is getting out of the city. But if we get trapped, for whatever reason we can't get out, my next step is to go to the stores and immediately, before everybody else figures out what's going on, try to buy as much water as we possibly can. My first reaction to whatever happens is getting out. But I have a plan just in case we get stuck here. And I know a lot of people like, you need to get out immediately. Well, we're working on it. We're working on getting out now. He says it's 2x2. All right, so I still sound like shit. If the audio is still bad, then I'm gonna have to bow out and try to fix something and see if I can come back on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I have appreciated your info. The part that we could catch for sure.
All right, guys. I'll see you in a few minutes. Sounds like shit. Very good.
Yeah. See you in a few.
I will say this much. I watched The Angry Prepper back on the Doomsday Prepper show, and that actually was that's where I got my idea from, having off-site storage. Because if you ever watched his actual episode there, where he was also doing hand-to-hand combat training with knife, he had to get it on the rooftop and actually having to go to a facility. He had it timed out, multiple routes, very important. Of course, living in the apartments, guys, having water on hand is very important. I mean, we have a rain barrel set right there at our trailer. We have so many gallons stored all over the place. I mean, I don't store the gallon jugs anymore. I use 2-liter soda bottles, fill them up, seal them up. We have a well on site, and I can actually power it with our solar. We can power it with our generator. We can power it with a solar generator. We've actually done the wiring for it. We can actually power that 120-volt wellhead, because in Florida, we don't have to be that deep. It's like a 130-foot wellhead. And also, learn how to actually dig water up. I mean, like where I'm at, my location, the water table is so high. We do have to filter that water. You can't just dig a couple feet and, the water's there in my area, but it's got a lot of contaminants. You got to be able to filter that out, actually purifying it. And like, I think I saw Arkansas Living in chat. He's actually went over on how to dig near a stream to actually get more filtered water out of the ground. So, if you know where streams and stuff like that is, definitely recommend mapping out your area, even using the Google Maps and going to satellite imagery and blow it up. It looked pretty good, probably 6-mile radius. I'm saying 6 miles from Florida because it's so freaking hot here. It's horrible. 6-mile radius. What do you got in your area? And actually look down it, then actually go to the location. Actually go there and see what the water is and stuff like that. Because that was one of our biggest things after Hurricane Michael. We had 3 people drop because they were traveling to a retention pond, and one was a ditch to get water because there was no water, no power. 2 had strokes, and 1 had a heart attack trying to carry that back. So water is on hand, very important, absolutely. And of course, like Digital Prepper, sorry, the screen's so small on my screen here, was saying freeze-dried food is great, lightweight, everything, but you have to hydrate it to actually be able to, if you can eat that stuff, but it's going to dehydrate you faster because it takes water in your system to digest food. If you're just shoving down food, that's one of the big things in outdoor survival. You better find water before you start eating, because you need water to break that down. You will actually, you'll dehydrate yourself out trying to eat if there's no water in that food. So water is very important, absolutely, like Angry Prepper was saying.
I really appreciate too the concept of making sure that the foods that you prep are nutrient dense. Like, no sense in having 16 cans of something that isn't going to nourish your body or only take more to digest it than is necessary. So my prepping kind of comes from a viewpoint of making sure that foods are nutrient dense. Like you can have a ton of chicken or whatever meat it is you like, but you're going to go a lot further if you're down in liver, kidney, heart, and organ meats. And so for us, that's been a huge, it's not everyone's bag of chips, but trust me, we just harvested 30 chickens. And like I say, we're in a townhouse. So we just harvested 30 chickens, and I took all their livers and their hearts and I'm turning them into other foods that I can consume later. And I think that that's a really important viewpoint of prepping, is making sure that the foods that you're prepping are valuable. Make them gold, right?
I'm glad you can't see the shelves behind me with like the beefaroni.
Don't be knocking my spam, even though Angry Pepper just left, because I'm going to send him a case, because he even said those things can be used as a weapon. And yes,
Yeah.
they can.
Yes.
They heard, and I grew up on spam. I love it, and it's like the worst thing in the world to ever eat. But man, I love it. But yeah, nutritional food, absolutely, of course. If most people, especially with small spaces, it's kind of hard to process your own food. So like we raise quail, chickens. My brother's real big on that with his homestead and stuff on his channel. We're raising our own food as a source of food coming in, but also we have the ability to make our flocks larger if necessary. So we have to
Right.
keep a maintained level with how we're living. But in a small area, trying to make our own meals, package them and everything, which mainly is canning. For those that don't know, I do have a pressure cooker canner, but with my small space, I don't have the room at all. I actually have to come in here to my aunt's home, because we're on her property. When we were traveling, we stopped here, and I would have to come in here, run the pressure cooker and everything for how many hours I needed to be doing this stuff, and then I have to take a large part of her area, let everything sit for almost overnight, and then I got to go store that stuff somewhere. Well, if I got pressure canned meat, I need a nice cool area, which we can run an air conditioner on a trailer, but I don't have the room to be adding glass quarts and of stuff, because all it takes is riding down the road and all my glass just shattered. So
Yeah.
that's why I have it on hand if I'm stuck in position. But
Yeah.
if I need to move, I don't do the glass yet. We got it ready where we can use it if necessary. But like right now, mine's all canned goods, dry goods, pastas and stuff like that. But I have the availability to switch it up and go into my cannon and stuff if necessary. But yeah, it goes into the same scenario where you living at, what you got going on, because it's all different from everybody, which is, having nutritional food, you need it. I've been out there. I mean, Van City, I know she'll tell you what the value of nutritional food when you're needing it to go traverse mountains and ranges and everything else. You need that energy, and it better be some good food, because a pack of ramen is not going to push you over that hilltop.
Yeah.
Well,
No.
That's what's so interesting is you talk about, like what's your most valuable resource in a small space, and a healthy, fit body with a brain full of skills. I mean, that just lives inside this space. So you can pack a lot in there. You can do a lot of preemptive work that when the time comes, and if there's a situation where maybe you can't get to your stores, or you are, something's happened, because anything could happen. I mean, in my area, earthquake is your, well, we've been told since I was 10 years old that earthquake's what's going to get us, but knock on wood, not yet. Right. And so having that opportunity to, make sure our bodies are well prepared for those times where there could be something that separates us from our stores.
So survival living, back to the ramen thing. I was working mapping up at Wedgemount Glacier, which is this, we found a climber's hut. A lot of times we would just use whatever hut or something that was around, and I was mouse infested and stuff, but that's a different story. And the person who packed our food, they only brought Lipton sidekicks, like one Lipton sidekick for two people.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, and see, I don't have a problem with kind of regular food as long as there's something hearty alongside of it. Sometimes, we did these grocery store walkthroughs and I talk about ramen and stuff, and a lot of people get really upset about ramen or spaghetti. I know survival living loves spaghetti.
I stock both. I do. Ramens and spaghetti. I stock both, but I know I don't live off of just ramens. Unless you've been in prison for a long time, you do some amazing recipes with them.
But like in all these campsites, and sometimes you don't actually have a choice. But if you're more, fit, you can adapt to different changes in food and get over it and move on and eat a more nutritious thing next time if it's available.
And there's sometimes you have members of your family that can only eat certain foods or are used to eating certain foods, and trying to stock that right now is difficult.
Yes, because I think you're in that situation, are you not? And there's certain things you want to get, and then you go to the store and it's not there, or it's rising in price.
Yeah, that's why I went to the Walmart in the next town over yesterday, was to get 5 cans of a certain pea that the Walmarts in my town have been out of since the beginning of the year. But, you know, I have to do stuff like that because it just, yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, I saw, who was it? I think it was Linda's Prepper Kitchen was asking about.
Yeah.
Did you see that? Okay.
I was just gonna bring up that question. Yeah.
I mean, I don't have to be the one to answer it. Anyone else can, but
No, it's for you. It says, how do you store your preps so that you have them there with you? What are your suggestions and tips you have? A lot of people don't have access to other places to store their preps. Linda's Prepper's Kitchen is a great channel, by the way.
Yes,
Love
it is.
that. I feel like I'm in
Love
her
Miss
kitchen
Linda.
when she makes food.
For me, I just literally, you hear all the channels say it, put it everywhere. I have stuff under chairs, under beds, in the closet, in the coat closet. That was the first video I made for YouTube a month ago, was showing what was in my coat closet, which is mostly food. And just, you have to find the space. Angry Prepper talked about it. Make furniture out of stuff. You know, you stack stuff up, you put a tablecloth over it, put something on top of it so people don't really know, but you just have to make the space. If you have an empty wall, you have a place to prep. Just, you have to decide what is your priorities. Is your priority your apartment looking nice for people coming over, or is your priority surviving in case something bad happens? And I know a lot of people can do both. I can't. I don't have the space to have a beautiful, welcoming apartment and have enough stuff for my brother and I. So my priority is trying to have the stuff more than the pretty place. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Well, the only thing is your place looks very pretty. And I've seen in your videos, you've got you've got candles, you've got things up on shelves. Like, it's so appealing.
This is the one corner you see, though. See, this is the only corner.
No, you've done other videos. You did. What do you think, Digital Prepper? What are your thoughts?
I actually was going to say, one thing that may be like a little bit of a unpopular opinion was, like, you know, how you were talking about, well, you can either have, you know, like a nice looking apartment, or you can have a, you know, apartment filled with things that you're going to need. What might be the case is that you might need to, what do you call it? You may need to, you know, kind of like downgrade the amount of preps that you have in your home. So, you know, like how Survival Living was saying that a year's worth of preps is, you know, like over 700 or so pounds, depending on what you have with like canned foods and stuff. You might want to maybe limit that to maybe like a month's worth of preps, or even like a week's worth of preps. You know, you do have to start somewhere.
It doesn't. It makes me uncomfortable.
Right.
I don't have a year's worth.
Preppers.
I don't have a year's worth. I'll be honest. I do have a year's worth of rice and beans, but half of it is here and half of it is in my storage unit. But I have about 3 months worth of everything else thereabouts. But then you've also got to take into account, like, you know, just your water filters and your tents and your tarps and everything that you think you might need.
Yes.
You know, and I have, even though I'm in an apartment, I have that stuff, but it's in totes in the closet, or, you know, I just, the bedroom, my brother, okay, I'm sorry, I'm talking too fast. I'll slow down. My brother's bedroom, I live in, you know, a 1-bedroom. My brother, I put him in the bedroom, but I have it split in half. So half of it, there's his bed, his little bookshelf, and his desk. The other half is just storage, but it's not my preps. My preps, like, are in the closet. What's out in the room is like the boxes of movies that we still need to do something with, or there's suitcases, which, if you've seen my video on, one of my suitcases is full of saran wrap and wax paper, and you know, it's just, I find place to put stuff, but it's a mess, but it's in the bedroom and I can close the door, and my brother doesn't care because it's not on his half of the room. So
I definitely keep those boxes of movies, because if it ever comes down to it, entertainment is a huge thing. I used to work at a video store, doing security details and everything else, all the work and stuff. But, you know, just even having a little bit of time where you can watch a film or something like that.
Yes.
And for those 2 hours while someone else is doing patrol, whatever, whatever the situation, being able to disconnect from
Mhm.
stress, all that is definitely going to be a smart move. I'd hang
Yeah.
on to that.
I just want to condense it down because we have about 30 boxes of of DVDs and Blu-rays because I used to work at a movie theater and I used to work at a video store, and I've been collecting this stuff for years.
Oh, nice.
And so I just want to kind of condense it down a bit.
Well, Angry Prepper, I know he loves movies, so he'll probably be wanting to know more about
There
that.
you go.
I'll
There
send
you
him all
go.
my Criterion collection.
Oh.
Also,
Oh, go ahead, please.
no, I was just gonna say also, kind of like going off of that, because that is one thing, in terms of like digital preparedness that I do, like store. Like I have like like I have a server and I have like a whole bunch of like hard drives and stuff filled with like movies and like kind of morale preps.
Yeah.
They're
And important.
and like like you had mentioned, like having boxes of like DVDs, you can kind of think of ways, depending on what it is, to kind of condense that down into maybe a smaller format or a different format that's more easier to store.
I'm not the tech person, but maybe if I watch your channel more, I'll learn.
You will. It's a great channel. Yeah, it's a great channel. And Turning Leaf Homestead, you grow a lot of food too, don't you? And you probably rely on that in your space.
Yeah, so we have a concrete pad out the back before we have a bit of green, like very small amount of green grass.
Mhm.
So I've been able to collect 5-gallon buckets or 10-gallon buckets from different restaurants. We have local grocery stores who have deli sections, so they're making pre-made foods like sandwiches, and so they always have a ton of those. So I've been able to scavenge those things, and then we grow food. I have my seedlings inside right now. I mean, that in of itself, last year was the first year I did seed saving. Learned a lot about seed saving and how that works. And not all seeds can be saved from certainly not the grocery store. But if you have a good organic market that you're able to seed save from, you can get your vegetables that feed you, and you can get your seeds for your next season. So I've been doing a lot of that. We have about 30 10-gallon buckets and 8 long windowsill type potting planters. So we're able to grow quite a bit here.
Nice.
I will add tinfoil hat time, because I'm worried about environmental issues and problems contaminating food outside. I know I'm in good company, so it's okay. But we have a lot growing inside for gardening, like so enough for salads and herbs and stuff like that with some grow lights, and I have it all condensed in a certain area. I think I might have made some videos or put on Instagram or something, but that is something that anyone can do. You can at least grow salads inside, not just garnish. You can grow salads inside, but it
Hey,
depends.
I grew my chickens here for 4 weeks. I grew 4 weeks. They were in my bathroom growing 48 chickens. And then we moved them to pasture of a friend's pasture. So,
wow.
You can make do.
So I just wanted to, sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to just segue. We've got Mr. Van City Prepper here.
Yay.
I know we're kind of a newer channel, so I just wanted to mention, there's 2 of us on the channel. I'm more the geological scientist medic person, and then there's the high altitude helicopter rescue / large scale farming arable farmer down here, who's lived in a lot of different size places, lived in the Australian outback, and definitely has some ideas of how to travel light or to try to get as much possible into a small space.
Hi everyone.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey there.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
just crashing your party here.
That was
I'm
a
just gonna,
creepy high.
yeah, I'm just in northern part of British Columbia, just trying to get one of our, we've got another property up here that we're trying to see if we can move into probably at some point in the next little while. So
Nice.
it'll be a bit of a change of scenery for us.
Awesome.
That's exciting.
Yeah, a lot of work.
So Turning Leaf, do you do a lot of indoor growing as well then, or mostly outdoor?
Mostly outdoor right now. But one of the great things, I don't know, I mean, I'm sure lots of people have seen these, but they use them. If you're living in a small space, of course, like you mentioned, apartment prepper, going vertical. So again, when you're doing hydroponic growing inside, you're not going to get the nutritional value, but is it better than nothing? Yes.
Yeah.
But again, you have to realize that there's a reason we have soil. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a trade-off for a temporary period of time that might be beneficial to be able to do that. But they've got these great stacking circular grow towers that you can stack on top of each other. A lot of people use them for strawberries, but you can grow a huge variety in a 3-foot square going straight to your ceiling.
Yeah.
If you've got a good window that you can stand it by, you know, and some grow lights.
And you
awesome.
can get like concentrates of like the same kind of like chemicals that are in the soil too, so that at least they'll be kind of on
Monsanto
par
free,
with
my
that.
Yeah, I've got some great organic from our local. We do have a couple really great organic foods for vegetables and that sort of thing. So absolutely,
Nice.
yeah.
Very good.
Yeah,
Well,
so it's a great way to do things. And like I say, I mean, you can I love how you're talking about capitalizing on the upspace.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's over your head.
Exactly. I learned that from a decorating page, not a prepping page. So I was looking for prepping advice for an apartment and I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that's really smart. I've seen people create track systems on their ceilings for their garages.
Yeah.
And then you're just sliding bins in, and
I've
you just
seen that
slide
too,
the bins in like that, and you can pull them out. And you've just created a huge amount of storage space for yourself.
Even I saw Provident Prepper. I don't know if y'all know who the Provident Prepper is. Wonderful channel. I saw them a while back. They had showed how they, in their bathroom, up above the door in their bathroom, they had put in a shelf, and they had a year's worth of toilet paper stored up there.
Nice.
I mean, they have higher ceilings too, but I mean, there's just so many options above our head. And right now I live in a low-income HUD apartment, so they're a lot stricter on what I can and cannot do. But I've lived in apartments where the landlord was basically saying, you know, as long as it looks like it did when you moved in, when you move out, I don't care about the in between. So at that point, you could put stuff higher up and just put baskets up there full of stuff or whatever. Just that space above our heads is just, it's taken for granted by so many people. Apartment, house, whatever, just that higher space, you know, try to do something with it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we vacuum seal our toilet paper. It gets flat as can be, and we can
I've
stack
seen
it like
that.
books. It's great. Works great with backpacks and everything else. We store a lot of it. Once you cut it open, yeah, it might not be on the roll very nice, might flop and everything else.
That's not
It
good
works
better.
though. It saves a lot of room. It really does.
That's
I'm
a
gonna
good
guess
idea.
at the point that you're using that, that's the least of your worries.
I get that all the time when I go out to the woods, unless I'm doing one of those bare minimum gear, and then I'm like, yeah, moss is not your friend.
Oh wow, that's hilarious. Which vacuum sealer do you use? Because I feel like you would have a good insight into that.
I'm using the cheapest one available. I've got two, the exact same one. I paid like $20 or $26 for. I had like a $70 one, and it burned out the first year. And I'm using these things all the time. So I got that one when I started my channel 3 years ago. I just got that one in. and I'm still using that one. I have the exact same one as a backup, and we vacuum seal. Every time you see me do this food prep with beans and rice and all that, I got to break all that down. I go through bags. I get my bags on Amazon though. I get a decent deal on that. So that's one I use. Now
And
for
what? Sorry,
Mylar,
say it again.
what's that?
Can you say the brand of the sealer again?
Oh, I don't know. It's a cheap.
Oh.
It's the cheapest one. Is like $20 or $26. Is the black one? I think it's even called Food Saver.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
a
I have one of those.
simple
Yeah, that's
one.
what
And
we've got. Yeah.
I've never burned it out, and it's been doing great. I get questions a lot about vacuum sealers that deal with Mylar.
Mm-hmm.
Those things are not cheap. They are not cheap. You can get inserts and stuff. We just now started getting involved with Mylar and stuff. And actually, as long as you do it correctly, I mean, I just recently showed where we pulled our rice and stuff out. As long as you seal it correctly, it'll suck. It'll get rid of that oxygen in there. I mean, it'll pull it down tight. So it's like a brick. As long as you do it correct, get all that as much air out as you can when you put that O2 absorber in there and seal that sucker up, it'll pull it as long as you got a good O2 absorber. So
yeah, it's pretty
having
cool.
a vacuum sealer that can do it, yeah, that'd probably be better. But I'm not having any issues doing it with an iron. So I found Waldo. Good to see you, my friend. How are you doing?
By the way, everyone who's here in the chat, you are noticed and appreciated for being here. There's so many great people. Prepping by Faith, Linda's Prepper Kitchen, Prepper Dog, Arkman, Ark Wildman Survival, Harvey Black is here, X24 Prepper, Ghetto's here, Broken Neck, Peaceful Monkey, Guardian Prepping, Uncle Al is here, David, Nanette, Yarn Prepper is here. And Yarn is saying, I'm 5'2", I can't reach shelves anyway, so that's prep space. Does anybody have any questions? If you do have a question, I know there have been a few that have come through, but just throw them in caps and I'm sure that someone in here will be happy to answer you. Question for Survival Living. Does your vacuum sealer have a port to vacuum seal jars?
No, not this one. This is like the cheapest N1 designed just for bags. Like I said, it was like $20 or $26. But then again, see, I'm not doing vacuum seals for jars. If it ever comes down to doing jars, that's where my pressure canner stuff's going to be coming in. Anything on that. All of our stuff we take out of cardboard, like macaroni and all that stuff, pasta, all that stuff. We vacuum seal or we Mylar it up. It has an extra layer of protection. We down here in Florida, palmetto bugs and roaches, notorious, and cardboard always brings them in. And also think about the humidity we have here in Florida. Cardboard absorbs that moisture quick, and your pasta, when you go in there, is going to have moldy mildew in that sucker, even though it's been stored inside your home down here in Florida with the humidity and power's out. It's going to draw it in. So get it out of that cardboard. But everybody do you. That's what we do because we done run into that issue. We had to be smart and get it all out. We vacuum seal and Mylar stuff up.
Is it safe to store water in a garage in Texas?
Yeah, it is. We do it down here in Florida. So your natural tap water is already treated. Okay, it comes down your lines and everything else is already treated with bleach and all that good stuff that comes. Then it makes your die in 30 years. But anyway, it's already treated. So with well water, on the other hand, you actually have to treat this water. And about every 4 months, I go ahead and flush everything we got. Everything we got gets flushed and we refill everything up. Is it a lot of work? It is. It is, especially when you're storing a lot of water. It takes a full day of this stuff. But with well water, you just treat it with bleach. All right. So, you don't put much in it. If it starts burning your back of your throat, you got way too much in it. There's other ways you can do it. I'm not going to name them here because of liability stuff, but real quick research on some of the bigger YouTube channels. They'll cover all kind of different chemicals you can use. But we flush ours out every 4 months. Okay. And the reason why is because water, if it's in sunlight or gets hit by sunlight, you can grow algae in it, especially well water. That will go fast. It will get algae growing in it, which is not treated with any bleach treatment that's coming from a facility, city water. All right. So you always flush them out. As far as water that tastes stale, let's show you something really quick. This is an old trick, especially if water tastes smoky on a campsite. You ever boil water and you drink it, it tastes real smoky, real acidic. Take a cup, pour it, pour it, pour it. You reoxygenate it, and then it gets that taste out of it, gets that stale taste, also the smoke taste out of boiling water on a campfire.
Okay.
Wow, thank you for sharing that.
Good tip. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good
I had to
stuff.
learn the hard way.
X24 Prepper, new good channel that I'm following here. Community gardens are good for people with limited space or no land to grow food. Locally, they're like $25 a year. Yeah, they're all over downtown Vancouver. I can get in on those. Anyone else have experience with those? No?
We have them all. I mean, we have them all south, like White Rock area. There's community gardens. You chip in, and oftentimes too, people will grow different things. So someone might be especially skilled at tomatoes. Another person is especially skilled at peppers. So they'll grow large harvests in their little square footage of what they have, and then they trade. And I think that leads to a really important point, though, about being able to exchange skills, maybe expensive tools. So if you develop, we have a group of 4 families that we harvest food together, and then we share that. Buying expensive tools like a food saver, maybe you want to get the Supreme Deluxe model with the sealer and the this and the that. Well, if one family does it and another family has a different tool, and then you exchange, and you can double what it is that you're using, and be able to support each other in creating food stores.
And this is, I think, more of the homestead mentality probably, and then some of the preppers will be hiding from each other.
But I don't know what you're talking about. On those community garden things, another thing, I was with a group years ago. Won't say location, but anyway, something we had looked into and actually worked with other property owners. You ever see those high power lines, those big old towers going for miles that clear out a big old spot in the woods, and there's nothing but clear land all the way as far as you can see. You can follow power lines to the road or whatever. Huge towers. Working with the people that actually own the property, you can actually do a lot of gardening and stuff and run out there, and it's all that property out there, and they don't care because they're just giving a rent way for that power company going through. The power company doesn't own that land there. That's actually someone else's land that the power company is running those towers through. So you can actually talk with those people too, because that is so far off the road. There's usually a service road that runs down it. You're going to need a 4-wheel drive to go up and down it, but it's off the road. You usually got a gate, but the property owner has the key, and you can work with those people. And that's a huge, that's acres and acres of land. Something to be, look into. Find the property owners, not hard to do. You can do it right there online. Go to your county clerk office. They'll also tell you who owns a certain property. You can go speak to them, see if they'll work out something.
Totally agree with that.
You really don't want to tell people that you don't know, hey, I'm a prepper.
Yeah.
So, be smart about it. But, we had a group that did have that going through their property, and that's what we use it for. We use it for gardening.
Yeah, I think resourcing yourself out to make connections as far as farmers and those sorts of things that can help facilitate getting your prep stores higher. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Become friendly with them, and not just what they can do for you, but what can you do for them. And it's a mutual exchange of whatever the needs are, and then that helps you build in the meantime, and then you're developing your skills, you're learning things too. So
Prepper Dog, who's a channel that I watch every day, great channel, is here saying we trade garden crops with neighbors. We trade green beans for tomatoes. We usually harvest a lot of beans and squash and grow a bunch of nice tomatoes. Yes,
awesome.
Sometimes you get to see in Prepper Dog's videos. Sometimes you get to see the garden. You have to watch lots of videos, and then you get that sneak peek from time to time. So it's well worth the wait. Yeah.
His videos are always good.
Yeah, good stuff. Just looking in the chat here because there's so many questions and so many comments. Yeah, okay. Is there a 12-volt or 24-volt food sealer out there on the market? I've looked around but not found one. I don't know.
Do you mean like a DC operated vacuum sealer? I'm saying 12 volts. I don't know of a DC vacuum sealer for 12-volt system. We use a 120. But see, like our solar grid, we have DC appliances and we have an inverter with a solar and everything else. So I've never seen a 12-volt one as far as DC current. There might go on and see if there's something if you do a search engine. I know they make a lot of DC appliances, but with that pump draw, it probably wind up being like a 24-volt, but I've never come across one yet. So I would just do a search online and it should tell you if there is one. And before you buy it, come back to YouTube videos, whatever, type in for a review on it and actually see it in operation and actually talk to the person before you go buy it, because all DC products are usually expensive.
Mm-hmm. I see a question from Apocalyptic Ben, a little off topic, but what's a fake prepper? Someone who doesn't food prep? I don't think there's a such thing as a fake prepper. If someone has
Exactly.
Yeah,
some
no, I
little,
disagree with that.
if there's a little tiny piece of concern about preparedness, whether that's having an extra toothbrush or an extra bag of
Exactly.
food, I don't think that anyone can really judge what's real versus fake.
One of the first comments I got on my first video when I showed my coat closet and showed some of the stuff I had in there, one of the first comments was, "Oh, well, you're a fake prepper." And I was like, okay. Whatever.
What does that even mean?
I know. I mean, it's like she said, it's just if you're the least bit concerned and you try to prep something, even an extra toothbrush, you are a prepper. Preppers are just trying to be prepared. You may not be a survivalist, but you are a prepper.
Anybody that says that is just trying to get underneath your skin, because any prepper knows anybody that's putting something back, even if it's just one meal and that's all it can do right now, but they're trying to do more, they know that they're a prepper. You just, you know, you're not in the same advancement of the game as far as everybody else, because a lot of people just getting started. I don't expect everybody to drop thousands of dollars on food, $5-10 a week. I think people need to do more than that now, especially with the threats and stuff. But I don't know their finances. I don't want anybody to mortgage their home or anything like that, because nobody knows when something's going to happen. So when people say that, they're just trying to get, especially a new channel, popped in their system. They come in and either one, they're jealous. That's usually the big thing. Or they just want to discourage you because they've actually tried to do YouTube and failed or gave up. And now you're in their target because you're doing it and they're not.
Yeah.
When it comes to that, just,
ignore it. That's all I did. I ignored it.
You know, call up a friend, you know, call up another YouTube creator, go yell at them for a little while. I do it all the time. They love hearing from me. I'm just sitting there and they're like, "What do you want? You won't believe." They hear from me all the time, you know, but my door is always open too. They call me up when something's going on. I'm like, yeah, they're jealous of you because you're actually making a difference in people's lives. That's what you need to take. If you can teach one person and they start preparing for their family, mission accomplished.
Yeah, exactly.
Agreed.
So,
absolutely.
You know, I mean, I can say that while my channel is growing, you know, oh yeah, coming from a guy, but I started just like everybody else. Just keep on doing it and we just show what we do. Word of advice, make sure your operation security, I don't want to sound like a complete nut job, you know, your OPSEC. Make sure you don't film too much. Like you got your corner, stay in that corner. If you're going to film outside, things like that, take your camera out, film it, you know, where you're going to do it. Then go back and look at it again. Okay, I got this in the backdrop. I can't use this. You know, be smart about it.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much for people to figure things out when you're in the store and stuff. And people's like, oh, I would never lie to somebody. Man, I do. When they sit there and say, why are you storing up all that? I live in the sticks. I mean, I'm not going to tell you I'm a prepper. All the survival living slapped across the back of my car, but still.
Hey, I like this one from Ghetto.
Yeah.
A fake prepper is someone who pretends to be a prepper so they can get with you, so they can sneak into your mag. And I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
That's a good one, Ghetto.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
What
that's a
we
good
do
one.
is if someone's trying to join our group, they got to produce. I mean, we actually go to their houses too. They're not just walking into our door. They have to prove to us before we let them in, because we already got our stuff situated. They're sitting there saying that they're preppers and all that stuff. All right, I'm coming over, because one, I got to know where you're at. I mean, if you're part of my group and you're in my local area and you're going to be doing defense, or you're going to be doing this, doing that, I'm coming to your house and taking a look at it, because I'll be able to tell real quick if you're shady or not. All right, let me see your stocks. You're the one wanting to join me. You put your foot down, you become the one in charge, because they're coming to you. You're not coming to them. So yeah, keep an eye out for those guys. Most of them will just keep on talking about it. Most preppers, they'll say it in passing, and then they'll be talking about things together. You don't just go, oh yeah, look at all the stuff I got. I mean, all the stuff I show on film is because it's stuff I want you to see. You don't actually see what else is going on anything. Just what I actually show you, and I never show anybody where I put it. So I get that a lot. We know where you're at. Come on over.
That's a good way of putting
how
it.
well that works out for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love how you've talked about spaghetti and Hunt's tomato sauce. I mean, you know, I was a subscriber. I couldn't stop watching the videos when you vouch for those foods, because they're so good.
I freaking love it. I eat spaghetti 3 times a week. I love spaghetti. Spaghetti is awesome. And Hunt's $1. I mean, come on, you can't go wrong there. That's enough to feed 4 people out of 1 can. I'm good.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I am a fat boy at heart, so, you know, maybe 2 meals for me, and that's about it, and then it's done.
We're gonna wrap up here in a minute, but I do really appreciate all the people in the chat. I'm definitely gonna watch it again and read all the comments.
Yeah.
And you guys for taking the time to be here and share some ideas from your own experience living in smaller spaces. Does anyone have a tip they want to share that we hadn't talked about at all?
I have one, if it's okay.
Yeah.
Something I didn't mention earlier to answer Linda's question. Another thing you can do is have multifunctional furniture. We talked about turning preps into furniture, but one thing I have is those little cheap storage ottomans, the little foldable ones. I have those full of all kinds of stuff in several places around my apartment. You can get sofas that you lift up the seat and there, you know, there's ottoman storage space. Just, you know, using a chest as a coffee table instead of just a normal coffee table. So multifunctional furniture really helps too in a small space. So
That's such a good point. Such a good point.
You can flip couches. We've got 3 couches. They've got about this much headspace under each of them. And if you're doing all your Mylar or food safe kind of stuff, if you've secured the area from, especially making sure that you have no way that bugs can, and you know, mice or whatever is getting in there, you can pull that black batten off the bottom and fill that with a ton of food.
Yeah. That is a good,
Yeah.
Since she just covered that, mice and stuff, if you have rodent problems inside your home or on your property, take care of it now before you start stocking up. And also move your preps around, okay? Your canned goods, dry goods, rotate, put normal rotational stock. Pests do not like to be disturbed. So if you go shove something in a closet and forget about it, 8 to 10 months later, something's got into it. We cycle ours all the time.
Yeah.
It's not a hobby, it's a lifestyle. And I read it all the time. Well, all my rats will get, I don't have any problem with it because I'm always moving stuff. It's a full-time job, but it's a lifestyle. So as long as you're moving your stuff around, and if you do have problem with the rats and mice, get traps out, get whatever it is and stay on it. Make sure you take care of it, because if that threat's there, they're not going away if they know you got food. So you got to stay on top of it.
And keep those traps in your preps.
To kind of like piggyback off of that, just make sure that you guys are, you know, like for food preps, eat what you store and store what you eat.
Yes.
You know, so that you don't have like entire closets full of like, you know, spam that you don't want to eat, for example.
That's what I'm talking about. Reese cups. Yeah, fat boy's coming back.
Yeah, I made that mistake when I first started. when I first started prepping back in 2019 or so,
Mhm.
I watched channels and I just went, okay, well, this is what they eat. I'm going to go get that without going, well, wait a second. We don't eat that. So I don't. And my food bank loved me that year when I finally realized there was stuff I was not going to eat. And so I've learned that lesson. So yeah,
Yep.
really don't store anything you're not going to eat just because you think, well, if I'm hungry enough, I'll eat it. Yeah, but you won't be happy about it.
Yep.
Yeah, you'll definitely eat it. You won't be happy about it
Exactly.
for sure.
So
Van City Prepper, I want to thank you for having me on tonight.
yes, thank
Yeah,
you.
Yeah,
I'm
thank
sorry
you so
I've been
much.
so busy. I do apologize for that. I've just been swamped, but I am actually glad that you reached out and offered me to come over here. It was
I'm glad
awesome.
you came.
Yep.
really
Yeah, it's
nice
really
to meet
great
you
to
all.
have you all. And I was wondering if we could just, we'll head out in a second, but if you could just we'll go around and just tell people where they can find you. And I also wanted to mention the Digital Prepper has done a few videos over on Urban Prepper with Prepping with Sarge, and they've done these long lives that are going to be in the, the old videos if anyone wants to go back and watch them, because
Oh, okay, yeah.
they cover so many topics, especially the wealth of information for prepping on the digital side. So
Nice.
maybe Apartment Prepper, can you let us know how people can find you? You're on Instagram too, right?
I started on Instagram and I'm also here on YouTube and I'm on Twitter occasionally, but yeah, that's where I'm at. So
Great. And in case anyone hasn't come across you, I don't know how, but Survival Living.
Well, I'm actually trying to find out what my Twitter address is because I really don't know. I think it's on my About section. I am on Twitter. I'm also on Facebook. I mainly just use my groups because I run my own website with my training and stuff for the outdoor survival training. I think it's Central Prepper is actually my Twitter handle or my Twitter. I don't know, whatever it's called. And you're on YouTube. I do have an Instagram account, but I haven't really messed with it too much because I couldn't figure it out. I'm starting on Rumble again, but that's not really what I enjoy doing. It just takes forever to upload over there, and I might get 3 views, so I don't play around too much over there. Usually I'm right here. That's usually where I'm at. But in the About section, it has all my social media stuff there too. So
Right on. And how about you, Turning Leaf?
Yeah, on Instagram is where you'll find most of my content, and in the future, as I grow, I will be getting YouTube going.
nice.
Well, there's a new channel that just started, and so
Yeah.
if we can all just go and join that, and we'll wait for those good videos because you have such cool stuff to show everyone. I can't wait to see it. And Digital
you.
Prepper.
So I'm, mainly on YouTube. The only other like social media that I actively am active on is Twitter. And that's at the Digital Prep. Other than that, that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here, everybody. I know it's late, and yeah, there was a big time commitment, and
Thank
it's
you.
been so much fun. I've learned so much from you guys. So thank you so much, and I will be looking for all of your videos.
Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Thanks to
appreciate
everyone
it.
in the chat and the mods. Okay, bye for now.